So the first 4 weeks will be in as part of the Park and Recreation Month. And that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
A quick question about volunteers. Can anyone?
Yes.
Do so?
Yes.
Or non-resident?
Yes, anyone can volunteer. It doesn't matter resident status. You know, we do prefer them a little bit older, but we do know that teens need it. So just depending on the event, just making sure that they're capable. But if you're also going to be volunteering and would like to bring your children as part of that to kind of get them acclimated and you're present, that's fine too.
Oh, still happening. Okay. Where can we get information about what is entailed to be a volunteer in each of the events?
When we say volunteer, you're really kind of extra eyes and ears and help where needed. It's very minimal and those types of things. So oftentimes, I'm trying to think of what, like the kindness rock painting. It's really kind of providing fresh water, cleaning up as people leave, or spray painting the final spray once they're all dried. Summer concerts, it's oftentimes like greeters at the different entrance points. We use as an opportunity to collect donations for our recreation scholarship fund. I'm trying to think the other ones that were on the list. The movie night could be simply just watching the gate as people go in and out. It's never like schlepping, setting up, or anything like that when we say volunteers.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
No problem.
Any comments? Okay, community events.
Our staff person is here for, Andrew is here for item A. So if you want to like loop back to the first agenda item, we can do that.
Okay. Oops. We're going to now revisit item A, the JDM restroom improvement.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, commissioners, for taking the time to listen to me talk about the project. My name is Andrew McAlpine. I'm with the Department of Public Works Engineering, overseeing capital improvement projects. And tonight I'll be discussing the John D. Morgan Park Bud Avenue Restroom Improvement Project for your guys' input and support for construction. So flipping over the page here. The project location, as the project title suggests, is at the John D. Morgan Park, nearest the intersection of Bud Avenue and San Tomas Expressway. I tried to print this in color. You can kind of see the outline of our site work, where it will be primarily, to the right of the new all-inclusive playground that we had recently constructed. And then to the north of our site work is a small picnic table area. Flipping over to the next page, the project is going to be primarily focusing on replacing the existing restroom building facility. The outline or the footprint of that building is shown on the slide with the small rectangle with the diagonal lines. And the new building footprint is that thicker rectangle. As part of the restroom building facility being installed, we'll be improving the surrounding pedestrian pathways to bring it up to ADA compliance. That includes the immediate surrounding of the building footprint, the pathway to the picnic tables going up to the right, and also going south towards Bud Avenue, the pathway that leads to the ADA accessible parking stalls. Flipping the page. So the general restroom layout will be as pictured here. We will be maintaining a men's and women's restroom and a garage utility access room for parks and building maintenance supplies. As part of the new restroom, we'll be adding a custodial closet for custodial supplies and staff. and a separate family room for families with young children and users of mobility devices. We'll also be adding a drinking fountain with the dog bowl. All of the improvements will meet ADA compliance. Additionally, flipping the page over to the next slide, we'll also be including or installing parking lot improvements. As pictured here, the existing parking lot has 68 total existing parking spaces with 3 ADA stalls. This, as it is now, meets ADA requirements in terms of the counts for ADA stalls provided. However, we will be increasing the number of ADA stalls from 3 to 6. That goes beyond and above and beyond the requirements, with the understanding that we will be servicing the all-inclusive playground. Also, on top of the ADA spaces, we'll be restriping the existing stalls, the standard parking stalls, to maximize the number of stalls that we can fit in the parking lot and to meet and bring it up to meet the current city standards. In order to fit additional ADA parking stalls, we do have to remove a couple of trees, which we have coordinated with the city arborist to plant new trees on site as part of mitigation. Sorry. So on the last slide, the project currently is in design with the approved CIP budget for design and construction of $1.7 million. We will be going to the city council for their consideration for the approval of our plans and specs in this coming August. And subsequently, when the plans and specs are approved, we'll go to bid and award to select a contractor to build the project. That process typically takes about 2 months. And then once we have a contractor on board, we anticipate the construction to be 12 months. And that would conclude my presentation. I would like to thank you guys for your time again, and would like to ask and seek for you guys' input and support for our project.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
I have one. The restroom area,
Mhm.
I think I'm hearing it's going to be torn down and rebuilt.
Yes.
Bigger.
Yes.
That means it'll be closed down for a while. Any estimates on how long that time will be?
So we'll try to minimize the time frame that it would be shut down. So what we're actually proposing to do is have the building actually be built offsite and then shipped onto the site as a prefabricated building. So with that, the actual civil site work to prepare for the new building and to improve the parking lot and all that, we anticipate it to be about 3 to 4 months. So
Are you gonna have outhouses or something on hand?
that is something that we are discussing still. So,
Because I know that area of the park is busy quite a
Very
bit.
busy.
right.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that we were just there for a volunteer lunch on Saturday.
Mhm.
And it was very nice to have the restrooms right there. Otherwise, you'd have to walk all the way over to the other side of the park, just quite a distance, just to let you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would think you definitely need to have porta potties while it was closed. And then I think it would make sense to, even if it was temporary, to have a washing station that's plumbed. That, maybe you have to run an extra line that's, that and a drain that could be used for those 3 months. Just with all the kids, and it'd be nice to have both a temporary, but then also someplace to wash too. A couple of just particular questions. The water fountain, is that spec to include a bottle filler too? Because that, if not, I would suggest that. And then lighting, I always find all buildings, but restroom buildings, if there's natural light that can be come in, is that part of the plan, or is that something that can be considered during the design phase to have, either skylight or one of the tube lighting to bring in natural light to the restroom?
Okay, as of now, we're proposing to install LED lighting. I don't think there's any provisions for natural lighting. As for the water bottle fill station, there will be one as part of that drinking fountain.
Okay. That would be my suggestion, to look in, because it saves energy over the long run, and it is like just a nicer lighting to have. And the tubes are can run wherever you're going to put the drop roof, and just provide natural light without having a roof skylight.
Sorry, in the same, bear with me, I've got a few questions. But in the same vein of, having the facility closed, that parking lot is vital to the use of that space. So I'm curious to see what that closure would look like for restriping. I'm assuming you guys aren't repaving or doing any refinishing at all, other than just striping of stalls.
We'll be doing a kind of seal coat as part of maintenance, and then restriping once we do the coat.
So I guess just adding on to that, the comment about having bathrooms and wash stations, I would like to stress the importance of that as a parent who's had my child's birthday at one of these picnics. These are very popular sites for families to come and do birthday parties. So you get 50 plus people at a party. So it's just something that's very well used and loved. Other question, as far as the picnic tables, it sounds like, are you guys doing any sort of grading to connect that picnic table that's in the, directly to the, I guess, project northeast? Will you be grading that? It sounds like you're going to be paving.
We'll be doing the pathway that leads up
connect
to
it. Okay. Just more curious if there's any like major grading that happens, because I know there's kind of a hill right there between the parking lot.
Yeah, so the grading will be ADA compliant, so it will have kind of the steps for, wheelchair resting areas.
Yeah.
That's a really popular park. That parking lot can be filled up a good part of a day. So there's a couple of questions I have. One, when is this targeted to begin that process, and how long will it take? And how do we serve to notify the community that basically it's hardly available?
That's very important. As part of our construction process, we do notify residents. We also post on our website ahead of time when we do anticipate closures and stuff like that. So we'll definitely have notifications in place to let the residents know.
I'll also add that since we do all the picnic rentals, we'll have as you're renting that, an agreement statement of, I understand that this picnic site only has porta potties accessible for my rental. So they're acknowledging the acceptance of that and prior to booking the space, so that it's very clear.
Yeah, and we communicate closely with the park staff, so.
Yeah.
And any activities or anything like that, we'll also let them know so they can coordinate the timing.
Yeah, and I think there should be some sort of parking plan with that site not there. That is highly desired parking.
Yes.
People will sit and stand in spaces so that they can wait for their loved one to pull around and get the space. Another question on the lot itself. Do you have the design configuration?
Sorry, just to go back on the parking lot closure, we had just recently done the expressway parking lot.
Yeah.
With the seal coat and restriping. So you could expect something quite similar to that closure.
Yeah, I still think that Bud side of the park though gets a lot more traffic and action.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you know the configuration yet as far as what the stalls will be? I'm curious if you're gonna keep the diagonal alignment here or do more.
So for the most part, it will match similarly, but we are gonna bring it to meet our current standards, so they will be actually 60-degree stalls.
Gotcha, yeah.
So right now it kind of skews, so yeah, I think
You
that's
can
probably
fit
what you're
two
hinting
cars
at.
in some of the stalls.
Yeah,
It's kind of nice.
exactly.
Actually.
So it'll be more standard across the new striping.
Okay.
So it'll truly be for one car rather than two.
Yeah, my only other question was more, I guess it's more of a broad question, if any EV charging has been considered, for any of the new park.
At this time,
Projects.
not as part of the parking lot improvements.
Because I know that's something that a lot of other municipalities are starting to add on to, and it's something that's desired by, the residents.
We can definitely look into that.
Can you speak to the prefabricated, like, what is that gonna look like? What kind of materials are being used for, the bathroom, if it's gonna be built somewhere else offsite and then brought in? Because the current bathroom is like concrete and pretty sturdy and stable, so, yeah, can you speak to a little bit about that? And I'm wondering if we ever considered like a renovation instead of a new construction for the bathroom. And my other question is if there will be changing tables in the family room.
Okay, I'll answer that one first because it's easier. There will be changing tables in all three restrooms, the men's, women's, and the family. As for the prefabricated building, a good example would be the Campbell Park restroom building. That one is also brought on site from a different facility. It will also be the sturdy construction materials, which is the concrete, and it does have to go through our permitting process for structural review. So it will be basically like our building here. So.
Sorry, just tacking onto that. Is there any major utility changes on the site? I assume it would be the same.
Minimal, we just need to stub out far enough so that we could put in the new building.
And the existing building has the same sort of storage for maintenance and.
Yes.
And this is because I can't remember on the site that the tables that you'll provide ADA access to, are they already ADA accessible tables? Or if we're going to the work of doing the additional stalls and accessible pathway, it would be nice to look at if they're not accessible picnic tables of replacing the ones that are accessible by an ADA pathway with an accessible picnic table.
Gotcha. The existing tables, I don't believe they are ADA accessible, but that is outside of our project scope of work as we're focusing primarily on the restroom building.
Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much for your report. And now we will go back to community events.
Did you need a motion or anything? Okay, sorry, we need to back up. We do need a motion
Oh.
for, are you looking for approval to submit the project to council?
We're looking for support to the council, yes.
Yeah, I'll move support of the project to move for city council for approval.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Thank you.
Okay, now community events.
Excellent. So in your packet, there's a report. It's a two-pager this month of all the exciting events that are going on in our community. So all of the, like I said, the Parks and Recreation Month events are listed on here. We also have the Campbell Relay for Life that will be up at the Community Center July 12th and 13th. In addition to our activities, there will be a history happy hour on Friday, July 18th. And what else is on here? There's a private promoter hosting Beatles versus Stones. It's a musical showdown featuring Abbey Road and Jumping Jack Flash at the Heritage Theater. So it's actually the same band and they compete against themselves. It's a pretty lively show. And that is it. I'm happy to answer any questions about the events we have going on.
Any questions?
I mean, I'm just curious what the adaptive disc glow dance is.
Yeah, so this is something we started last year, and it's a dance for kids and adults of all abilities that come with their families and friends to have. We have a DJ and we have snacks. It's very well received, and it was one of the coolest events we did last year, to be really honest. And so, yeah, I mean, teenagers come usually with a parent, but there'll be older adults with different varying needs and abilities that come and they just dance for the hour and a half that we have the DJ. And like you said, it has some treats and stuff in the back that pass out, and it's great. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, well, let's see. Committee reports, Chair Teeter, Parks and Creek Trail.
Okay, compadres, anyone go to some of the parks this last month?
I did.
Okay.
I wanted to compliment Public Works on the split rail fence
Oh,
on the Santa Mas Rincon side of the park. It looks great. So good job.
Yeah, so I was at John D. Morgan a couple times. I've been on the creek a lot. I did see at John D. Morgan, there's on that Budside playground, so one of the gates was broken, it wasn't functioning, it was kind of phoned off, but the other one also wasn't really working or automatically closing. Sounds like something your team is already aware of, but that's.
So we have brought out a contractor, fencing contractor who is in the process. We're going to eliminate the actual hinges that are on there now. They're more of an aluminum style. We're going to go with the heavy duty type of spring loaded hinge that is going to be mounted on those gates, because this has kind of been an ongoing issue with gates because they're so heavy. Unfortunately, we get some kids that use that as a ride. You know, they're swinging on it, and also they're going to add a support. That comes off of the actual post and it goes to the other post to keep that postal gate as nice and straight. So we're working with a contractor right now. I've signed the paperwork through the process. So we're hoping within the next couple of weeks, we're going to attack both gates. Both gates are going to go ahead and get these really heavy duty hinges so we don't have this problem. It is in the works.
Yeah, good to hear. I was gonna mention that kids go run screaming in and out of there and slam the door as hard as they can.
And
Or
the,
like
and
you
the thing
said,
too about the
ride it.
gates is, those gates are very heavy.
Right,
They're 200
Come
pounds
back and-
plus, and if those were to fall on somebody or a
Ooh.
small child.
Not
So
good.
we're going really strong on there, not having this problem.
I did visit the trail a couple times, done rides on there. There's one area in particular that I was hoping to talk with you after this, just as unhoused and kind of some trash.
I'm gonna go over that and report out.
I was out of town for most of the month, so
Okay.
no park visits, but I do have a park dedication fee question. So I was just looking at, there recently started work on a development parcel on Virginia Avenue. And I was looking at the design, and it does have like a little parklet in the front. And I'm not aware if that's like in lieu of fees, but I just wanted to understand how the process works is that a staff review or does that come to us if the developer is proposing the on-site facility rather than park fees?
Amy, do you know that answer?
When a development project comes forward, there are two options. Oftentimes, though, they pay a parks fee because depending on the size of the development, they're just not able to have enough space on their site. And when that happens, that park needs to be accessible to the public. So it isn't just for the residents that live within that housing complex.
And is it that, like, and the reason I was wondering, and this, I think the planning commission already approved this project, so it's just an example. But that, it's very close to Virginia Park, so I didn't see the value of having a public park open space, like the design shows some, kids, playground equipment on it, I believe. Although it's hard to tell from the drawing. So like, is that just totally at the developer's discretion, whether they're, and if they meet the requirements for how public open space or parks should work on the site, that will be approved by through the planning commission process? Or is that discretionary to say, no, we'd rather have park fees paid than have a open space or park development on the private development?
So like I said, depending on the developer, if they find that that's a better amenity to provide to their residents, they don't want to have a park on site, they can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I was walking home from the Campbell Museum last Friday, and it was 96 degrees or whatever it was, and I was amazed at the number of kids in the playground at Campbell Park, the number of people on the basketball courts, and here I'm sweating, just walking, and here these people are playing. But the nice thing about the Campbell Park, the basketball courts, is the nighttime lights. It's heavily used. I was driving by there the other day, and it's so good to see the usage of that park. And then John D. Morgan Park, we were picnicking by the playground and the restrooms and stuff in the shade, and the musical pipes that the kids hit. It was beautiful. It's very, very nice sounds. So anybody else? Okay.
Okay, community building, that would be me. Oh, I skipped you, sorry. Recreation.
Okay.
No.
Now- Sorry.
There you go.
So we met, the Recreation Subcommittee met with Tina Wong-Erling, the Senior Services Supervisor, and Kevin Martz, the new Program Coordinator of our 50-plus Adult Center. And we spent about an hour with them. We learned about the citywide survey of older adults that was done, and also the city's recertification as an age-friendly city. This is something that's designated by the World Health Organization. And Campbell is one of the cities in the county that's designated age-friendly. In fact, our county is the only county in the United States in which all cities have been certified as age-friendly. So I thought that was very impressive. But Campbell's going through its second recertification. And I believe that's done, just about, almost done. And this process that they've gone through has led to identifying 3 priorities: developing a senior services provider network, increasing information and awareness, and supporting older adults who are seeking employment. Those kind of rose to the top as 3 areas from the survey that the Adult Center felt like could be addressed. And at the end of the meeting, Tina invited us as a subcommittee to join the service provider network, which meets every other month. And we plan for at least one of us to attend each of the meetings, if not all of us, because that seems to be where work is going to get done for adult center projects. That's the end.
Thank you, that sounds very good.
Anything else? No?
Okay, now we will move on to community building. And I don't have anything to report.
We're gonna go with Monday, July 7th at 4 PM as the meeting time, so we can start kind of planning what that'll look like for you guys. So we'll be in the recreation office on Monday at 4 PM for those three.
Okay, so staff reports, parks.
Let's go. Oh, I'm sorry.
It doesn't-
Let me talk. Thank you.
Welcome.
Wait, turn. So, we talked a little bit about the homeless encampments. I know you brought that up. So I just wanted to let commissioners know that last week I met with the Service Masters, who's a contractor for us that does homeless encampment abatement for us. We actually drove the complete trail that's within our city limit, and we found 7 encampments total. Some are worse than others. So we went ahead and they sent me a proposal to clean up all those sites. So what we're doing is I have it scheduled for this coming Thursday, July 10th. They will be here at 8:30 in the morning with a large crew to start doing the homeless encampment abatement. We will also have 2 Campbell police officers with us just in case we run into any confrontation with any of the occupants that may be there, but we're hoping things go smooth. But just to let you know, this coming Thursday, next Thursday, I'm sorry, July 10th, they'll go ahead and clean those encampments up. And so a lot of the spots that we're doing are spots that have been there for a while. Bascom Avenue Bridge, no, I'm sorry, Hamilton Avenue Bridge. There was a fire recently underneath there. They had people cooking or staying warm, and they caught a lot of stuff on fire, furniture down there and everything. So that's one of the sites that will be abated. There's another large one that's at the kind of where the trail comes down from the prune yard and meets our trail. That one will be abated. That's a larger one. That'll all be cleaned up. So, but there are 7 locations that will be taken care of. So looking forward to getting that taken care of next week.
Sorry, just one question on that. Does that, I'm assuming that only includes encampments that are on city land or city spaces as opposed to Caltrans.
So we'll be doing everything that's on our side of the fence as it meets Caltrans, but I have reached out to Caltrans. There's a gentleman there that I know Ruben, that I've worked with him on numerous encampments. So he's trying to get things scheduled so they can attack that side of the fence on 17 there and take care of their encampments. So we're working on that also with them.
So one quick question. Will we be providing notice to the people who are living there?
Yes.
That we're coming to do this service? Or-
So what'll happen is PD will go ahead and post at each site a 72-hour notice to let them know, gives them 72 hours to get their personal belongings out there and get them taken away. And then once the 72 hours up, then we go in there and then things are cleaned out. What they normally do is they'll go through and they'll look for certain items, personal items, and then we'll put those to the side. But a lot of the stuff we're finding is just trash and everything. But the personal items, if we found things as driver's license, credit cards and things. And once we get those, we take those immediately to PD and turn those into PD. Let them know. But yeah, most of the time, a lot of it's trash, and they will get the 72-hour notice. A lot of them comply to it and some don't. And those are the ones you have problems with because then you have to try to get them out in 5 minutes instead of 72 hours. And on that. Okay. Also, most of you remember probably about 4 months ago, Mr. Sheehan came to us, wanted to get approval for a memorial bench for his wife. Just wanted to give an update on that. The memorial bench arrived about a week and a half ago. So got the bench and we actually assembled it all and we put a clear sealer on all the wood. They wanted to keep it natural looking. So we sealed all that. The bench will actually be installed next week, probably by midweek. We got to do a little grading. The location is right behind our service center. There's a large bay building there. and it'll be located right behind that. So it'll be on the, if you're on the trail, it would be on the west side of the trail as you're heading south, as you're leaving Campbell Park. So we'll get that installed next week. There'll be a little concrete pad underneath it too, but it'll be nice to have it. It's going to be underneath a tree there, so it's going to have little shades. Should be nice. So just wanted to update you on what's happening with that. This time of year with the hotter weather and everything, we're having tree limb failures right now. You would think you would have it during the winter time, but what's happening is the trees are so full of leaves and everything, heavy, and some of the limbs are drying out. The weight is just too much, and we get limbs, sometimes smaller, sometimes big limbs that'll come down. So we've noticed that over the last week. We've got some call outs on some limb failures, so go out there and address those. But you know, these things happen during the summertime too. We get the failures, especially when it's really hot. Hot days, it just seems to be notorious for limbs coming down. So just want to let you know on that. Also, most of you know the parks division is section is a little bit not completely staffed right now. We're missing about 3 permanent employees, but working with our HR, we were able to conduct a practical exam for 25 candidates last Wednesday. And what it is they'll come out and they'll do there'll be 3 stations. So what we do is we get, one of the station will be tool identification, you know, tools that most of our park staff use, just so we know if people are familiar with what the tools are. And then there's one of the stations was putting together some PVC parts, sprinkler heads and stuff to make a swing joint. And then there was one other station for lifting, one where guys would pick up sandbags, 50-pound sandbags, put them in a wheelbarrow and then roll them to different stations and unload them, just so we could see if people can, you know, unload properly and work safely. And it looks like we got a decent batch of candidates from that testing. So the next step is to go ahead and bring the candidates that were selected and run them through an oral board exam where they'll be asked questions and stuff. So with the help of HR and Amy, we're able to move this along, and we're hoping that we get 3 good candidates out of this batch and get them on our parks to help out and stuff. So we're really excited and looking forward to that.
Just a comment that skills testing, it's a pain, like it takes a lot of effort, but it catches the fakers. So I'm really encouraged to continue that. I'm glad to hear that you guys do that.
To be honest with you, this was my very first practical exam that I was involved in, because I've been here for 12 years and we never had any practical exams. So it was brought to my attention through our HR, and yeah, I think it's a good thing. It really kind of selects people out that maybe shouldn't be in the group. But yeah, moving forward, we're definitely going to start using this. Thank you. That's about all I have. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I don't know if I have a question. I just have a kind of an observation.
Okay.
Edith Morley, I've noticed some tree branches down. Just saying that. The park itself looks really, really good.
Okay.
The grass care has been just amazing. The other, and it's not so much your job, I think, but there's at least a couple of, I guess I'll call them homeless vans. They're almost trucks that are there every day. And I noticed another one coming in there, so it makes you a little nervous, because I think there's a lot of people that move around and use those areas.
All right. Let me make a note. We can start monitoring that. Okay. Well, and if we notice that we have people parking out there, because there are signs posted at that park for 3-hour parking, and they're not supposed to be there more than 3 hours. So if we're seeing that people are parking there longer than that, we can have PD go by and start marking those vehicles and start enforcing.
An observation, I think a lot of the people that work across the street park there because it's shady.
We
Too many
found,
cars are parking, you almost can't get a parking somewhere.
we found that a lot of the employees at West West Valley Construction, I think it's West Valley Construction. A lot of them park there, you know, and that's where we had to put the 3-hour signs up. So obviously we need to start enforcing them. So that's all I have.
Thank you for your report. Natasha, Recreation Community Services.
All right, so we are in the home stretch of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So I'm wrapping up the admin draft review right now. And the draft Parks and Recreation Master Plan should be going out to the public about the 14th of July. At that time, members of the public, commissioners, elected officials, everyone will have an opportunity to make comment. It is a lengthy document, 6 chapters, 7 with chapter 0. So they're working out a way right now to make that digestible for people to make comments online. We're hoping to get all of that feedback through the month of July into early August, kind of wrap up any loose ends, and we'll be bringing the draft for your approval in the meeting of September, with it going to council in late September, if approved by you guys to push forward. So we're looking kind of like a draft final approval in this process. So please take the opportunity when it goes live to make comments, because that will be the opportunity for you to do that. And also to ask questions directly of me, or we can talk about it at the August meeting as well, as those questions arise. The skate park redesign project is also moving along. I've been going out to the park pretty regularly, getting feedback from users, and got a lot of really good input from people. They had given me a mock-up of where we were headed with the design before they finalized everything. I met with the design team and a member of the community, and we kind of nailed down, I think, a really solid final design that is representative of what everybody's asking for out there. So I'm very happy about that. We should be bringing that project to the Park and Rec Commission in August, and then looking at September or so going to council. So that's kind of the timeline on that one. You may have noticed at the skate park, there is a large ramp that's currently missing. So a large blue ramp had an absolute failure. And what we thought was the only failure, once Public Works went out there, there was 7 legs missing. But of the 4, 2 ramps coming off of it, the largest leg was completely gone, not even in our park anymore. Where it went, we do not know, but totally a major liability on that one. So Public Works promptly removed that ramp for us, which was fantastic. The relocation of the adult center is also moving along. However, the initial cost estimates came in over triple what we were anticipating or budgeted for. So we are scaling back that project at the moment and working with them. It's an old building. There's a lot that has to happen that's no one's ever going to see. And so we knew that kind of going into it. So we're working on kind of scaling that down and phasing that project to be something a little bit more manageable. Just a reminder about the link to sign up to volunteer at our Parks and Recreation Month events. We hope to see you guys at those. Our summer programming is in full swing and things are going well. Our camps and swim lessons and everything is very busy at the community center and the parks. And then, as I mentioned, the community building subcommittee will be meeting on Monday at 4 o'clock in the recreation office. Okay, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Just public outreach for the input on the draft plan. Are there any community meetings planned, or can we do posting through the QR code or something?
Yeah.
Just to get the word out.
So we have a constant contact that we use that has probably 4,000 or 5,000 people, and that's what has been our main driving. It's we've gotten very good responses on our surveys that we send out to the public on this one, more than what they anticipated percentage-wise based on our population. So that's been great. We aren't doing a community meeting because it's such a voluminous document. we don't want to dumb it down or bullet point it. We want people to read it and digest the information that's in there, and it really can't be done in a community meeting. So we're hoping that maybe by chapter they're able to do comment cards or something, and do them one section at a time, or things that mean the most to people that they can do. So their team is kind of vetting out how that'll work. But yeah, there'll be a lot of outreach. We have people who've signed up directly to get information. We have a web page for it. And it also coincides with Parks and Recreation Month. So we have a lot of people at our fingertips coming to our events. So if there's a QR code, once it's live, then it's very easy to be like, give us your input. Here's the QR code for sure. Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you, Natasha, for your report. For the good of the game, I'm gonna start with you. Do you have any, do you have any good of the game?
Nothing here, just, happy 4th, happy summer. Hope to see you all in the parks.
I was out of town, but I will, last time I talked about, taking my grandson to the park, I was back in New York City and, was able to go to the park where was born and grew up at the beginning of my life in New York City, Hopkins Square Park. So it's just, you know, it just emphasizes what touch points parks are in my life and people's lives. So I think we do that for our community.
I have to follow up on that. I was over there for a meeting and the kids were swimming and it was a very noisy, busy, having fun group. Just exactly. That's also true over at Morgan's play area. Those kids really, really enjoy it. So there are some good investments and good things.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I guess I'll just echo on that. My son has now done 2 weeks of camps at the community center, Lego camp, soccer camp, and is loving it. And community center is a bustle every time. There's so many people. It just seems like things are running really well. And kids are happy.
Well, I was coming out of body conditioning class on Tuesday morning, and all of a sudden I see these lights flashing. I'm going, oh my gosh, someone's hurt at the track. No, it was, you know, as Natasha said, it was all the different city trucks and county. It was wonderful, and all these kids are running around screaming and having a good time. So I was so glad to see that.
And I don't have anything to, just enjoying summer. So that's it. I will adjourn this meeting at 7:56.
Hour, good. Inside hour.